Have you ever wondered what it's like to be the king of direct combat? Well, you don't have to. Just simply play Max. Max is an incredibly powerful CO if you know how to use him correctly. All his direct combat vehicles, his battlecopters, his bombers, his submarines, cruisers, every single thing that uses direct combat aside from infantry and mechs are boosted. And his powers just simply make them even better and allows him to move even farther. Max is scary to go up against, and there's not really a lot that wants to go head to head with Max, even if you outnumber him. Because as soon as he gets to first blow, your forces will crumble. There's not a lot of COs that can go head to head and feel comfortable enough doing that against Max. But Jess is one of those COs that is actually comfortable doing that. While she might not have like a higher attack power like Max does, it's only 10% behind. And granted, it's not the coveted 20% that allow her to like take out a tank on a city, but with a calm tower, she'll have the exact same stats as Max would normally. And she has access to one thing that Max will never have access to normally. Her indirects. They receive the same buff as her tanks do, her medium tanks, her recons. Everything that is land-based, Jess will get a 10% increase too. So, let's go ahead and get started on this. We're playing on... what is this? We're playing on Page Avenue today, and this is another 3-base map. 2 on top, and then, well, on my side at least. You got 2 bases on the top here, and then you have the one singular base down here. We have the airport with the 1 base. I think this might be a trend. Some tells me that a lot of maps are like this. However, you might notice that the comm tower is trapped. You can't go through in between the 2 pipe scenes because there's actually like an ocean tile here. This isn't a river tile where your infantry can just, I'm gonna walk over it. No, you can't walk over this. A battleship will be right at home here. So you have to bust open the pipe scenes with either like a battlecopter, and like any indirects like rockets or artillery, or even a bomber if you get to late game and you haven't picked this up yet. So, and there's one for each side, and any Jesses that play this map, yeah, they're going to get this comm tower. There's no way they won't. Jess, Hawk, Von Bolt, they're all going to get the comm tower. But when you go for the comm tower and your opponent does not, you're fighting an uphill battle because they're gunning for you. You spent at least 6k on a unit that can break open the pipe scene. Meanwhile, they save that for a tank and they're already in position. It's a bit of a gamble, but it's one worth taking if you're any of the COs that get like a 10% increase in anything. Alright, let's go and get started on this though. Let's skip a couple turns. Because honestly, I've run out of things to say that I could possibly say about the beginning. It's just infantry. Like, I'm debating on starting at like day 5 or something with future games. Oh. And leave it to the one playing as Max to open up with a tank first. So, typically I like to wait when it comes to opening tanks. I like to open a tank when I have a tank chain. Because as you see with Max right here, he only has enough money for 1 infantry. Well, not 1, but he only has enough money for infantry. I guess a recon as well. But recons aren't going to be like that great on this map. Granted, there are a whole lot of roads, but this is predominantly a tank-based map. And yes, there are some indirect plays here as well, but tanks are pretty much what's going to be your main, like the main shtick with everything, especially with these two COs. When you're playing against Max, you want to have equal footing against Max when it comes to tank play. And Jess is one of the few COs that can actually do that. And see, this is what I mean by tank chain over here. Like, I'm also keeping my tank well away from Max over here. And if Max were to bring his tank over, yes, I'm going to pounce on it. It's not a tank chain, it's a tank infantry chain. And I'm creating like a nice little wall here. And tanks can nestle behind my infantry. And I keep going with the tanks. I want this. Like, typically I would want my opponent to have this as their strong side, because they only have the one base to resupply with. Meanwhile, I get two. That's typically what you want to drag your opponents into. Make their strong side the side that has one singular base. And believe it or not, Max is the first one to open artillery. And look at the range on artillery. It's so bad. Oh my goodness. Like, don't get me wrong, Max can use artillery. He can, only in very niche, like, scenarios. If Max is going to do anything indirect, he's better off with battleships and rockets. Because he's not going to be able to shoot off with artillery very often. Especially when you compare it to my indirects. There we go, just keep tanks rolling on north. And opens a recon on the southern side too. Recon can't exactly go too many places down in the south. In the north, it can go all, like, wherever I wish, but that area, not quite. And I do believe this is my city, so I'm going to interrupt that. And start taking that one for myself. Meanwhile, I'm going to protect this city down here because, yeah, 30% defense, Jess doesn't want to go up against that with infantry battles. 20% is already a lot for her. And then 63. My goodness, Max. And already opening up with a medium tank. And it's only day 9 as well. And I don't blame him at all. There are 4 tanks here, and they're in position to where it's not very easy to get like a good first strike on them. Like, you can get a first strike on this tank and cripple it down to 2 HP. But I have 1, 2, 3, like 3 tanks within range. And even if he did shoot on this one does have 20% defense, and I believe that would leave it to 4 HP? I don't know, let's check. And then we'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say planes. Yep, 4 HP. Potentially 4 HP, but it would be 5 HP. And then I would deal 2, maybe 3 back. Like I said, Jess can actually contend with max tanks. Not very easily, but she can. She's one of the very few COs that can actually do that comfortably. But yeah, 63 left on this pipe scene, and then 55 on this pipe scene. And I'm going to open up with a medium tank as well. These 4 tanks I can deal with my 5. But I cannot scratch this. Not without losing all my tanks in the process. And I need my tanks to deal with max tanks. And I know this is quiet play here, but I also want to pick off Max's tanks one by one. Because, like I said before, this is supposed to be his weak side, yet it's not. And I have 2 bases supplying the north. So long as I'm able to systematically pick off the unit, like the stronger units one by one, on paper, like over time, I will come out on top. It's just down on its south I have to worry about. Because infantry battles, it's 90%, like I have 90% firepower with them. And Max doesn't have any change with his infantry units. Especially with that recon running amok down there. However, he makes a slight mistake. I am able to fire upon this recon next turn, and then interrupt this with the 2, well, potentially 3, 3 infantry down here. This one go over here, this one goes down here, then this one goes right here. That'll knock it out. But I basically just invited Max to take fire over here. And take fire he does. And, oh boy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh boy! Look at my power bar. I am less than the infantry engagement away from actually getting it. And he's just now getting his airport. Good God. And there you go. He's going to make this side his strong side now, and has infantry left over. And I'm just going to use the 1 HP tank. And I'm going to go ahead and use turbocharge because I see an easy kill here with a medium tank. But first, I'm going to go ahead and knock out a few tanks. And then get this infantry over here ready for a comm tower. And goodbye recon. And 1, 2, and 3. With Advanced Wars by Web, the bonus that you'll get, it's actually 10% firepower and 10% defense. So Jess's infantry are normal for a turn, without the comm tower. And there goes that tank. And yeah, Max Force is ready, and maybe even Max Blast. I am going to shield this. I don't think you could blame me for shielding a medium tank at that point. And seeing that there's 2 tanks here, I want to force the Max player to get anti-air. So, helicopter. It's a very good way to do that. And sadly, Max is the first one to get to the to the comm tower. And he builds another medium tank. And, well, I know what I'm going to do. Besides get my infantry that are slowly over there. just a few infantry engagements, and wall this guy up. All his tanks have been picked off, and 4 of mine have survived. With 2 of them, like, having a scratch. That's really good. That is insanely good, especially when you're going up against Max, because he always wants to get the first strike. And since there's 2 medium tanks up here, I'm going to get a medium tank. I think that's a little bit fair. And I was so upset by that. I saw this and I wanted to take it. What was the calcs on that? 44 to 50. Really? That's it? Well, even with turbocharge, it wouldn't have killed it. Okay, never mind. I actually have a very, very good roll on that. Wow. Wow, okay. Doesn't change the fact that I was still sad to see that at 1 HP and not gone. And Max here, not actually having a good opportunity to use his powers because, well, his 2 medium tanks are out of place. His 1 tank down here wasn't going to serve him too much of a purpose, especially with this battlecopter here. And he just has an artillery here. That's about it. Like all he would really done is just fire on these 2 tanks, and that's it. Like, in order for him to actually properly use his powers, he needs to get more vehicles out. Or rather, more direct units. And he builds this anti-air, and I'm the one that has built anti-air now, which is not good. And finally, starting to get the comm tower. But his anti-air is going to take a turn or 2 to actually get into place. Meanwhile, my battlecopter actually has time to harass them a bit. And my tank is going to join in on the party as well. And this is where I start getting the indirects. Because while Max has to rely on heavy hitting like stuff or a battlecopter, I can just rely on artillery to take down the black boats. And keeping far, far away from Max's medium tanks. And doing the proper shielding as well. Like, it can fire on this one, but it's going to take 2 medium tanks to the face. And he is done holding on to his power. He is going to activate Max Blast. And first thing he does is fire on my medium tank on the city. And gives me a hefty amount of charge as well. And look at this engagement. Tank right here. 90! Goodness! And 3 HP from a city, like, and that was on HQ as well. And that's a black boat. Battlecopter coming in, and yeah, he didn't do his full 8 movement. Otherwise, I would have been able to do something with mine. But I want to keep my battlecopter away from Max. And oh boy, he might be in the middle of Max Blast, but I'm about to get turbocharge. And I'm going to use turbocharge because I see a good opportunity up here. First of all, I'm going to fire with my medium tank on the city. I know it's not going. I know neither of them are going to be killed because I got 10% defense on my stuff as well. But I also see quite a bit of stuff I can do down here. Specifically, this tank was a very good candidate for pickings. And then I'm going to take out that tank. Thank you. And why not? Turbocharged just tank against a Max Blast medium tank. Like, it was at 5, and then full health turns into 3, and then 4. That's actually not bad. And then, again, I'm so upset this didn't kill. But what's the calc on that? 17 to 25. I guess I'm just overestimating stuff. And can't really do anything about this one. But what I can do is slowly wall stuff in. Because once this artillery is in place, Max ain't going to go near anything. Finish off that tank. Finish off this infantry. And got a very good luck roll on this. And sadly did not get a good luck roll on that one. I should have just fired at the tank. But now I'm starting to wall everything in. I'm starting to get this artillery in place now. And I come in with another medium tank. And both of us are dead equal in income as well. We both have the same amount of properties. Like, it's split down the middle of what properties we own and don't own. And then both of us have our comm tower. We're both on equal footings right now. On paper, at least. If you look at our unit count, I am winning. Along with unit value. But it's Max. He can pull stuff through quite easily if he wanted to. And he does take out my battlecopter with his, or at least severely cripple it. He's got 2 medium tanks down in the south as well, and down here, the only possible answer I have is artillery, and Max can get around that very easily. He just went and sacked it. Nice way to get a little bit of power charge. Yep, and there goes my one and only battlecopter. I need to learn how to use battlecopters, effectively. I really do. But I see his artillery here. I'm just like, okay, I'll go for it. And black boats, don't underestimate black boats on this map, actually, because they can fix units and resupply them on the front lines of your HQ, which is very, very nice. my 1 HP tank shielding the medium tank. Oh my goodness. And with my indirects in place, I can actually start firing on them. It took down 2 infantry just right there on that turn alone. If I can get another indirect, then I need my anti-air. I'm surprised I haven't gotten an anti-air yet. Day 15 and still no clear winner here, actually. And he does bring his battlecopter in and cripple my artillery, but in doing so, he's actually, he brought his stuff onto my side of the field. That's the last thing that you want to do, is have your troops cross over onto your opponent's side. You don't want to do that. You want your troops to be backed up by your own. And he's still bringing out the medium tanks. And it's forcing me to bring out more and more medium tanks as well. And nice shot. And here's when I said that he made a big mistake with that. With his medium tank over here, it's no longer a threat. Not immediately. It only has 5 movement. It has 2 forest tiles as to go through. Like, it can reach here, and it can reach the city. As long as I stay clear of these 2, I'm good. So, in the meantime, I'm going to trap this battlecopter. This battlecopter can only go towards my side of the field now, like closer to my bases. And in order to and to ensure that it doesn't go anywhere, like over here yonder, I'm gonna build a second anti-air. Looking back on this, well, no, he could have just gone up here. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Yeah, I'm going to keep resupplying this. I'm going to bring my medium tanks onto the front lines as well, because this thing cannot possibly reach it. Not even with max blast or max force, it can reach them. I am overextending on this front, like, heavily, because my artillery isn't covering anything anymore. And that's something that he's going to punish here in a bit. Yep. Yep. Neither of us are going to get anything. And he decides to take a shot on my medium tank, which, okay, that's actually good. You want to drain your opponent's funds when you're in a stall situation like this. That's good. And then he builds another medium tank. This guy has 5, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 medium tanks already. 2 of them are down at south, which the only counters I have are 2 artillery, which realistically aren't going to do a whole lot. And I have 3 medium tanks up here, 2 which are healthy. One's going to get repaired back all the way up, and the other one's going to be at 8 next turn. I don't have a good counter towards these medium tanks. But his black boat is down. And since his black boat is down, I can actually use this as cover now, should the need arise. And his battlecopter's gone. And 1 HP tech against 2 HP artillery. Doesn't even scratch it. Just slowly moving up, slowly positioning myself in a way to where I'll be ready for whatever angle like Max decides to use with his powers. And I'll go ahead and take down this tank. And I get some semblance of a wall here. Not a great one, but it's a wall nonetheless. And then infantry, and then artillery. Artillery is the only possible thing I can do at this point without like completely messing up like my infantry on the north. Infantry might not seem important, but infantry will actually stop those medium tanks in their tracks. Because look at what Max has. He's only got infantry up there to potentially wall break. And so long as I have numerous amounts of infantry here, these infantry aren't going to do anything. He has to use a medium tank to wall break. And even if he goes through the infantry, I still have other things that I can use to wall break. I have this artillery, I have tanks. Meanwhile, and then my medium tanks can go in and punish that. Yeah, but then the 40% defense, ugh, it's nasty. And hey, he's got 22,000 funds. Guess what he's going to buy next turn? Another medium tank. 4 medium tanks up north, ladies and gentlemen. And my artillery is just getting stronger and stronger the longer it's on this city, which is fantastic. But, as you may notice, I'm slowly starting to get an edge over here. Meanwhile, I'm somewhat denying him over here. And his artillery is gone now. His infantry is almost gone now. And I'm forced to pull back here. I can't keep doing this. I need to wall up I need to get my artillery together. And I need to make sure that on almost every single strike that these medium tanks can do, these artillery can respawn back. Like, there's a blind spot right here that he can do. But aside from that, there's not really a whole lot that's... Okay, 2 blind spots, sorry. But I can't do anything down here. I have to rely on these artillery. Because up here, I'm forced to respond to a threat that is max medium tanks. Regardless if I have 3 up here. 3 is not going to deal with 4. Not alone like that. And with max blast almost being ready, I want to keep my distance. You want to ensure that Max and Jess cannot use their movement abilities to their full advantage. Because if they're able to, like if they're really close together, movement won't be that big of a deal, but it'll allow the others in the back to be drawn in. Because typically medium tanks only have 5 movement. The moment they get 7 movement, they're a threat. A much, much larger threat than normal. It's not their defense and offensive capabilities that make boosted, like power boosted medium tanks scary. It's their movement that happens. Because once they get 7 movement, you better run. And here's a quick little lesson. Never go for cities unless you know for sure that you're going to get them. And while yes, taking down this infantry did prove to be useful in here, I still have other things. I still have this tank up north that can deal with it. It's not ideal, not in the long shot, but it's still something that I can do. Meanwhile, I still have my infantry down here that I can use to mess with this capture. So, he's stalling me out on the top front, and I'm being walled out on the bottom. This isn't good. And because I want to be able to keep my tanks with everything, and he's not interested in building battlecopters. He's interested in building those goddamn medium tanks. So, I'm going to use my anti-air to interrupt this. Ah. Then I'm going to fix my wall up a bit. Because this is now in prime position to fire on anything. And I've got a wall of artillery here. That's nice and ready. And to make sure that this thing can't just go around, I'm going to trap it in with I'm going to trap this medium tank in with with one of my tanks. I'm not going to fire on it, hell no. I want it, because he's less than 200 away from max blast. I want him to take 1 engagement before I just give it to him. And meanwhile, I'm just preparing for the inevitable down here. And there's his 1 engagement. One medium tank. 2 medium tank. Artillery goes. See how it is incredibly easy to take on, like, to neutralize artillery. And this goes for against Grit as well. The thing that makes Grit very scary is his plus, like his range on his indirects. It makes it a little bit harder to zone him out. With Jess, you don't have to worry about that. But while he pushed heavily down here, he's also starting to push up north. And that's his big mistake here. Yes, he took down the artillery, but the artillery's not the thing that he should be worrying about. Down here, yes. Up north, you got 3 to 4 other things that you should be focusing on first. So, he's in the middle of Max Blast. I'm in the middle of Overdrive. There are a ton of good engagements I can do up north. But first of all, I'm gonna fire on this. Medium tank. Secondly, I'm going to start bullying things up north. That 9-3 when both of them are in their super. 8-3. And then luck roll with the infantry, dead. Anti-air coming in to... Anti-air is going to come and brawl with the medium tank. And it takes on 2 damage while it only receives 1. And then, dead. Infantry. That's 2 medium tanks gone, and mine just took scratches. The third one, up north. 2-2. And then I got 2 infantry. And it brought it down to 1. The medium tank down here, like one of his medium tanks down there, almost wiped it out, and this thing is still at full health. And then the 3 HP infantry actually took down that 1 HP, the 1 HP medium tank. So now that that's gone, yeah, I'm going to take down the anti-air. 2 HP anti-air. It still has a bit of kick left to it. And then yeah, I'll go in the woods and do this. I'm going to my opponent's territory, but at the same time. At the same time, I'm ahead on vehicle count. I'm ahead on unit count. I don't mind doing this. If it means getting rid of Max's vehicles, I'm all for it. So typically so what this guy did is he pushed on both sides. Typically whenever you do a push, you want to push on one side and then bring the other side back. Like that will be your defensive side. Notice that I pushed on the bottom side. And the top side, I didn't go anywhere. He came straight towards me. And that allowed me to advance a little bit. And I'm just going to start building battlecopters. This guy has no anti-air here anymore. I'm going to build battlecopters now. Jess, she may not have like the best battlecopters, but they're only minus 10% by firepower. With the comm tower, they're completely fine. And even without the comm tower, they're still fairly good. And he's still brawling up north, despite the fact that I have 2 healthy medium tanks here. And notice, he doesn't have his powers anymore. I still do. This got brought down to 3 HP. It still dealt 2 HP to Max's tanks. And once again, going for this city. If he captures it, then we'll be tied again on income. But I prefer to keep my 2,000k income if possible. And then again, medium tank up north. Stop building the medium tanks. You're not going to do anything. What you need right now is anti-air. Because the moment you see your opponent building a battlecopter, you need anti-air. If the medium tanks aren't working, then something else needs to happen. infantry comes in and just destroys it. 4 HP medium tank. It's not done repairing, not by a long shot, but it can still take on that medium tank. And yeah, I'm gonna repair this while it's right by my black boat. 1 HP infantry is gone. Another 1 HP infantry is gone. And I'm going to get my battlecopter in. If this medium tank wants to strike my medium tank, it's going to do so when mine is on a city. It can repair next turn, and it's going to take a hit from both the battlecopter and this medium tank. And I'm just clearing away everything up here. I have effectively seized the north. And in doing so, I'm going to start building artillery here. Typically, what you want to build indirect units when you're in a comfortable spot. Because if you're doing it when both of you are equal, your indirect units have to take time to actually properly set up. You are conceding ground at that point. And the moment you concede ground when you're in a neck-and-neck situation, you're going to start to lose. Unless your opponent plays carelessly. And that will be kind of rare. And another medium tank. Stop with the medium tanks. They're not going to do anything, dude. 17 units to 31 units. And I'm just going to start pushing on the bottom as well. I'm going to start pushing him back. Because yeah, he has 3 tanks, but my indirect units are actually walled this time. I have battlecopters coming in, and he still has no answer for it. And while that's happening, I'm going to be pushing up north as well. He only has these 2 units. And yeah, they're medium tanks, but I also got other medium tanks here. Yeah, they're all damaged, but what you call it? He's just going to keep building medium tanks over and over and over again. I'm not worried. Not at all. And so long as I keep the battlecopters rolling in, I went too far. And so long as I keep the battlecopters rolling in on the south, he'll have to break this chain eventually, just so he can deal with battlecopters down here. It's a losing situation for him, one that he got himself into because he would not stop building goddamn medium tanks. Day 22. He resigned. Oh my goodness, what was the stats on that? I need to know how many freaking medium tanks that was. Seven medium tanks. I took down 7 medium tanks. Eight, 9, and 10. This guy built 10 medium tanks. That is far too much. Like, way too much. Medium tanks, they're great. They are incredible at defensive plays. Like, more so than Neo-tanks. Neo-tanks, compared to medium tanks, they're basically just firepower. That's the main highlight when it comes to Neo-tanks versus medium tanks. But as soon as you see that the medium tanks are not working, stop. Don't keep building medium tanks. Because yes, eventually, with these 4 medium tanks here being crippled, he eventually would have gone through, but with only 1 base to resupply that side, it's not going to do a whole lot. Like, I can see him somewhat pulling it back, but with me capturing this property, I would have been at a 3,000 income lead, and he would have been a 23 to a 19k like game. I just would have kept pushing him back over and over and over again. And if he got And if he got pushed back before this artillery reached 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, reached this forest, like as soon as that artillery reaches this forest and he didn't do anything about it, it was over. Because that artillery was just going to keep laying into it. Jess is the one CO in the entire game that can just keep going. Like, she never has to stop to resupply. She never has to stop to refuel. She can just keep going so long as she gets her powers. Aside from maybe games with Drake, you will never see a Jess with a flashing fuel sign. Ever. Like I said before, Jess does not mind getting into tank brawls with Max. Not in the slightest. And because she might be at a bit of a disadvantage, her indirect plays will make up for it. And so long as you have like proper ground force to work with, then indirects can be very, very good. So long as your opponent just doesn't keep buying medium tanks over and over and over again. Next time anyone goes up against a Max and they're at a deficit, like they don't know what to do, give Jess a try. Like, yeah, she might struggle in the early game a little bit, but in medium, like in mid and end game, both of these two actually are neck and neck. Both of them struggle a little bit against each other. It is not as bad of a matchup as like it may seem on paper. Because while Jess might have -10 on Battlecopters, they're still going to take no damage back. And that's the thing with that's the thing that makes Battlecopters so freaking good. They take no damage back. See you guys. Take care.